Welcome to the 359. I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
I'm Alfred Ng.
Facebook wants you to know it's doing a lot to clean up its massive social network. The company on Tuesday, for the first time, revealed hard figures for its enforcement efforts, saying it took down 837 million pieces of spam in just the first quarter of 2018 and disabled 583 million fake accounts, most of which were disabled within minutes of registration. Should we feel good about these numbers? Those are big numbers.
I mean, it's important for Facebook to reveal these, basically saying like, look at how much that we get rid of every day. I mean, for a long time, I feel like most tech platforms have been going by the creed of, if you're doing everything right, like people aren't really going to notice an issue, but like people have started noticing issues. So they're saying, okay, yeah, you notice these issues that like leak out, but like look at all the other stuff that we've gotten rid of. Right. Look at these millions of posts, and then like, why are you pointing out these like one post that like that is available, which is still an issue. It's not like just because they delete all of these that means that like things don't get through. So in that post, in that report that they put out today, they said that even though they've deleted 583 million fake accounts, which is about a quarter of Facebook's actual like users. They said that so the 2.2 billion users that they have now, about 3 to 4% of that is still exists that are fake bot accounts. And 3 to 4%, that doesn't sound like it's that much, but if you break it down by numbers, that's about like 66 like million accounts.
And that's where a lot of the spam is coming from.
Yeah,
too.
so it's not like they've gotten rid of all of them, and it's not like Facebook is saying we're getting rid of all of them, but it is even at a low percentage, it is a pretty big number.
Do you think that coming out with these numbers helps their reputation at all?
I mean, it helps them build a case at the very least.
That's true. Also, wanted to check with you about this. What about how's artificial intelligence playing a part in this? They mentioned that AI was really useful in taking down a lot of graphic violence.
Yeah,
like
so as far as the accounts goes, that's how they're able to delete it within like moments of registration. It's not like they check every single account like the moment that they sign up, because that's about like 6 million accounts a day. Like there wouldn't be enough time to look through all that. So a lot of this is AI based. And the 857 million posts that you mentioned, like just spam posts, that's also AI. They said they deleted those before they were even reported. So there's a lot of basically like algorithms that are searching based on image, or like things that don't really fit in with like what a normal account would look like or anything like that.
Yeah, nice to see that they're making Facebook less of a cesspool, but still got problems. Next, congressional Democrats' last-ditch effort to save net neutrality is coming Wednesday. That's tomorrow. That's when a vote on a bill to turn back the FCC's repeal on net neutrality will take place. The bill has a chance to pass the Senate, but is unlikely to go further than that. It also needs the president's signature, and President Trump is unlikely to actually go through with this because he's the guy that brought the FCC chairman, Ajit Pai, that pushed back net neutrality in the first place. So I don't really see this going anywhere.
Yeah, it's unfortunate there's so much skepticism with this, but I mean, I think it's not really. I think it's more of a statement about how like our politics really work.
Yeah.
More than like views on net neutrality or anything like that. But
yeah, and it's a way for Democrats to get attention to the issue. It's important to mention too, the FCC has scheduled the rules to officially come off the books June 11th. So if you haven't seen any major changes related to this, that's why, because it hasn't actually taken place. Last, Target is stepping up its work with next-day deliveries, bringing its restock program nationwide. The company also cut delivery fees to $3 from $5, making its new service a potentially stronger competitor against Amazon. Alfred, do you think this would get you to stop using Prime?
I don't think it's going to get me to stop using anything. If anything, I would just use both of them. That's weird to drop a service completely just because there's another option available.
Yeah, that's true. If you want to read more about these stories, check us out on CNET. I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
I'm Alfred Ng.
Thanks for listening.
And thanks, everybody, for joining us for the recording of the audio podcast. You can subscribe to that later. We'll tell you all about it. Until then, I'm going to jump into the chat, pull out some questions and comments, anything you got with today's topics. For one, I will go ahead and jump back to your question to Alfred about Target. I'm in the same boat. I think I'd be willing and welcome to use both, but it's probably not going to take me off what I'm already subscribing to, because this Target is not... The Target shipping is not going to take away that Prime also gets me video, it gets me music, and a lot of other perks. It's a really fuller package.
Covering the e-commerce beat, to me, it's at least gratifying to see that folks like Target and Walmart are trying to step up their game a little bit more and at least be a little bit more competitive against Amazon. And this is a next-day delivery service. Amazon's already been doing a lot of same-day delivery and 2-hour delivery for Prime members. So I feel like the big box guys, the traditional retailers, still have a long way to go to actually directly compete against Amazon.
I mean, they might have an advantage though based on where you live, considering that like there's like a Target, there's like a ton of Targets around where I live. Like where I went to college too, there was like several Targets. I imagine they'd be able to get it to me like much faster than Amazon would from like their warehouse or whatever. Like
their mini, like they're using their stores as mini warehouses.
Yeah, basically.
which is a way to kind of use that infrastructure that they already built out and make it into a benefit instead of something that's just a legacy part of the business that's hurting them. So it'll be interesting to see how that happens. And I think a lot of people are waiting to see what else Amazon is going to do with Whole Foods. After they purchased Whole Foods last year, the expectation is that they would do more like pickup out of there, more grocery delivery out of there.
Iguanas on the menu, courtesy of Jeff Bezos.
Definitely. I wonder what iguana meat does taste like, and I hope it does show up, I don't know, sometime soon at Whole Foods. Didn't you email Amazon?
I emailed Whole Foods and Amazon asking
if they were going to put iguana on the menu. It would definitely get them headlines.
I really want to just start my own beat where it's just asking stupid questions to multi-billion like companies.
You did this once before too.
I did this with the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, that was pretty funny actually.
It was like it was around when HQ2 was being announced, and they picked 20 cities, and Philadelphia and Boston were both in the running, and they were also both playing the Super Bowl. So I emailed Amazon and I just asked them, "Hey, does the winner of the Super Bowl get HQ2, or like will that be a factor?" And they told me no.
Oh, they actually said no?
They basically said like, "Look at our guidelines. Like, there's nothing that mentions sports in there."
That's too bad. Well, that was nice. They were good sports about it to actually respond to you.
All right. Question time from the chat. Michael Brown, Facebook tries to clean up its act. Is it too late? Quick answer, no. Have you seen the number of global Facebook users? Yeah, we've touched on that one before.
That's a good point, though. That's a good point. I mean, it's important for us as reporters to be, hard on the company and really point out the critical issues. But we've also said before, Facebook's not going anywhere, and they do have an opportunity to turn it around.
And we still use it here.
I know. Yeah,
that's not
as a company.
Yes.
Maybe you don't personally.
I do.
Michael Brown goes on to say, what is the next big social media? It's still Facebook by way of Instagram. What are our feelings on that one? We've always asked what's next.
I don't use it much. So
I think that's a popular. I think that's a popular opinion to say that Instagram's going to be like where all the kids are flocking to and things like that. I mean, some people even like to say like Snapchat. For me, I would make the argument that like, I don't think there is going to be a next big social network, more so that I think that people are just not really going to be using social networks that much anymore.
I kind of think that there's something to be said there. There's kind of a sour taste left in all of our mouths. I know I have just kind of dialed back. That's just me. That's me. But yeah, I've kind of just weaned myself off of it. It's still there when I need it, when I need to reach someone specifically, but overall, I'm not wasting as much time there. I'm finding other things to waste time on.
If anything, I feel like more people are just going to be moving to like messaging apps, which, Facebook has their asses covered there with WhatsApp.
And
Messenger.
Yes. I count Messenger as part of Facebook, but sure. But yeah, I mean, you can look at it more so as like taking a step back where like the social network, in the late 90s was like AIM or what is it, like MSN Messenger or something? Like people in different areas use different stuff, but I used AIM primarily.
Well, there was also like Friendster, MySpace.
Yeah.
No, but like those aren't messaging apps.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a really great article in New York Mag yesterday where it was basically like, I'm now bored by the internet. Like people used to go online all the time just to waste their time, go on forums, talk to people that they'll never see again or anything like that. Or like play games and like look at stupid memes, messaging boards and things like that. And then it moved on to like, oh, everybody has their real name now. And then like, here's all my real photos and stuff like that. That was the new way to waste time. But like, I don't know. I'm not really, I read that article and it was just like, yeah, I'm like severely bored by like stuff on the internet. It's like very hard to waste time online now. Nothing is fun.
Danny Green points out, not a long ago, a lot of people left Facebook for Periscope. But how often do you hear people talking about Periscope right now? Sorry,
Facebook
Periscope viewers. We have a lot of actually really great Periscope users. Hey, you.
Wait, who left Facebook for Periscope?
I don't recall that myself.
That's not even a correlation. I don't see how that makes sense.
Well, maybe for Twitter.
It was a good 1-2 punch from Twitter to acquire
Yes, yeah.
To me, I would like to see Twitter be a stronger competitor. I'd like to see Snapchat be a stronger competitor just because I like to see a healthy competition in the marketplace. And unfortunately, right now, it's like so solidly Facebook all the time. And that puts the target on their back. They have a lot to answer to. When something goes wrong, they get put in hot water a lot. But I think it's better that consumers have more options. And unfortunately, Snapchat and Twitter are so much smaller. And they do have their user bases. They're also not going anywhere, but it's really like a winner take all or winner take most kind of world these days.
They always say that there's no big competition for Facebook, but I think there is. I for one, am a big fan of Fake Block. Remember Fake Block?
That?
You don't recall it?
No.
Developed by George Michael?
Oh.
Sorry, I'm rewatching Arrested Development Season 4 as we speak.
Yeah, or there's new episodes out now, right?
Remix episodes.
Oh, what does that mean?
That means that they edit it more in the traditional style of the original show with 20-minute episodes
I'm not gonna watch
instead
that,
of the extended like anthology episodes.
Oh, I saw.
Those aren't
Yeah,
new.
I saw like when I was on Netflix the other day, I was like, oh, new episodes of Arrested Development, and I was like, I'll watch that later. But now that you've told me that, I have no plans to watch it.
All right, fill us in on Fake Block since I'm a dad and don't get anything.
It's about security and privacy, and you got to get Stan Sitwell to invest.
Wasn't it just like a metronome thing?
Yeah, it ended up being a woodblock app. Let's move on. Josh Boyd asks, is Vine 2 still happening, or will it be glanced over?
Oh, I really hope it does.
It
No,
actually isn't.
They put it on
Yeah,
permanent hiatus. I saw
yeah.
that the other day. I'm
Oh,
sad.
come back, Vine.
Vine is on the ice now.
I'm so sad that like I really started
Where was
to
that
appreciate
story? Is that Wall
Vine.
Street Journal or something?
It's yes, the internet reported on what was happening on the internet. But either way, I really started to enjoy Vine and started watching those YouTube compilations for like a half hour or something after Vine had already died.
I will say this. I am very glad that Vine dying caused the death of like Vine compilation channels.
No, it didn't.
Which
They're
how?
stronger
There's no
than
more
ever.
Vines.
They just keep repurposing them.
Okay, but my point was that like I hated I watched like some of those because it was like I don't spend all my time on Vine, but I hated that they made money off of that because like
Yeah,
you
that's
guys
a little
are
silly.
leeches, you guys are bottom feeders. You don't like make your own content. You just take other people's stuff and like oh.
But if they didn't do it, we wouldn't be able to revisit them.
that's not true.
Because tomorrow is Wednesday, my dude.
I didn't. My point is
Tomorrow is actually Wednesday.
I just derailed Alfred. Everybody put this down.
The podcast is now
broke
completed.
Alfred today.
hate those compilations.
All right, let's switch gears.
Fine,
real
now
quick.
I have something new to feel bad about. They were just like, oh, I really appreciated those compilations. No, they're bad, and here's why.
Let's switch gears before we run out of time here and talk about net neutrality, which is, of course, on everybody's mind. Flycope says net neutrality is gone, but I haven't noticed much. Has it gone in place yet, or what? We kind of covered that earlier.
We did cover that. June 11th is when it legit goes off the books, and there are already all sorts of changes happening on the state level. So who's to say whether you're going to notice any sort of difference whatsoever? If anything, it's just gotten way more complicated.
Right. So let's expand on that. Flycope wants to know what exactly would happen with net neutrality. The government can't really do much. It's not in their hands per se. It's them handing over more control to the ISPs.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the things that we can expect to possibly see without fear-mongering too much here? We've talked about internet
for me
fast
personally,
lane. No, but
for me personally, I don't think much is going to change at all for consumers.
Yeah.
You know, especially within the first year or two.
because
I don't expect on June 12th all the ISPs are all of a sudden going to be like, haha, joke's on you. We're all of a sudden going to like jack up prices and, you know, force you to pay for fast lanes. Like, I don't anticipate that happening.
If we're supposed to believe what the FCC's argument about this is, though, is so apparently on June 12th, there's going to be massive innovation from all the telecom companies
point.
because they got rid of net neutrality. So now they
Probably
can
also
finally
not going to happen.
advance to the amazing future that this regulation has been preventing for all these years.
Yeah.
According to the FCC, at least, that's really what their argument is. So either it'll be a dystopian future where everybody has to pay millions of dollars to
For
have
slower internet.
yeah, or tech innovation will take off and we'll be in the space age of the internet.
It's a good point. And ultimately, I guess we're probably going to see some sort of middle ground. A lot of this has to do with infrastructure, and it's going to take a really long time for any of these changes to happen. If they do start changing, the ISPs do start changing their pricing tiers, people are probably going to wig out. And that's why I don't anticipate that happening. That's my personal opinion. I don't anticipate that happening. And at least in the short term, in the next year or two. And let's see if it does. It's actually coming pretty soon down the line.
Yeah, I mean, what they have now is a user base far and wide intermingling between the different ISPs that have become comfortable with the current approach and format. And slow changes will always come, regardless of net neutrality repeal or not. It'd be akin to every cable provider suddenly deciding we're going to roll back to 720, and nobody'd be happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be a foolish move.
Yeah.
You actually covered a lot of ground there because we had several people asking about the timeline, about some of these rollouts and possible changes.
To throw this out to the chat too, I'd love to hear from you guys. I mentioned my own personal opinion about this, but what do you folks think is actually going to happen on June 12th? Do you expect to have significant changes happen? Are you anticipating to have to pay more money, significantly more money? As we said, things always change. Prices do tend to go up, but
they were going up regardless of this or not.
Yeah, but do people expect there to be significant changes? I'd love to hear from you. So, yeah.
I like to say that I have somewhat rolled back my rage on this case.
It's funny. I feel like I finally worn you down.
I don't know about that. I'm just trying to keep a level head because maybe if we harken back a few episodes ago, there's maybe more than a few of me soapboxing. And don't get me wrong, I'm still ticked off about this. I still think this is a bad move.
Still mad, all right?
Still mad, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut for a second. Mike Shaw, for one, was actually saying the loss of net neutrality opens the door for more innovation. It'll likely be a net win.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah.
How do I delete
Way to go, Mike
someone
Shaw.
else's comment?
No, Mike Shaw. Keep doing awesome puns.
Yeah. He says, Flycope agrees, saying competing is what we need. Flycope says not much will happen. Josh Boyda says, if T-Mobile and Sprint get 5G, will that put pressure on the cable companies in regards to pricing? There's a good point right there.
We've talked about that a lot. The potential of 5G adding more competition. Problem is that that's not coming in the next year or two.
Yeah.
Or 3 probably. But yeah, we'll see when that happens.
On the other end of the... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, I don't know, that argument kind of doesn't really gel with me, mostly because, it's not coming for a really long time. It's like asking if, do you think flying cars are going to get rid of the, self-driving car industry? It's not...
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's probably, but, this is, a very long time from now.
Yeah.
I mean, MTV's going on 40 years, and video has yet to kill the radio star. Just putting that one out there.
Mm.
On the other end of the spectrum, DeMonte says it was intended to be up and free, and it should stay that way in regards to the internet being available to the people, governed by the people, run by the people. Oh, that sounds way more political than I intended. But yeah, his encouragement is that the government and, more importantly, the providers should not be the ones calling the shots.
He wants people to run the internet then?
I think he wants it to just be more free and available. We'll never live in a world where the internet is completely free.
I think the challenge is are we really going to see this really lousy situation where you're going to have to pay for fast lanes or have to pay for a social media package or a news package on the internet instead of just paying one flat fee to access the internet? And time will tell if that ends up happening. It seems that consumers have said very loudly that they're super not interested in that kind of thing. So having ISPs shove that down our throats, I would call that a really bad move, and people would find an alternative, I would imagine, as quickly as they could. But I don't know. We'll see.
A couple of closing comments before we wrap up the show. S. McPeters says, I expect my subscription prices to go up first. How much those increments will be will remain to be seen. I lost my place here. Sorry, everybody. Go ahead.
I'm a little skeptical. So my prices for my internet bill have gone up consistently over the last like 4 years. So I feel like it would have gone up regardless of net neutrality. So I don't know if it goes up again like later this year, if that will also be related to like the net neutrality.
Yeah, and how much
Likely-
are people going to freak out if that happens? You'd be like, oh, your ISP prices went up. It's because of net neutrality being repealed.
Yeah, because like my prices have always gone up. I'm not saying that like net neutrality is like good or bad here in this scenario, but I'm just saying that like I'm continuously paying more for internet, which is also bad.
And you will. And luckily I cut the cord, so I don't have to deal with that anymore. And all my money is going to just paying for the internet.
Flycoat goes on to say, what I've heard is that not safe for work sites might be harder to access, which probably won't affect us that much because we're not too dependent on it. But there is something to be said there for the censorship and the ISP's power to censor what they can deliver to you. There's another possibility that we didn't
That's
really
also
bring up.
part of the nightmare scenario. That's a good point to bring up, that just the ISPs blocking certain sites and making the internet harder to access in different areas. So, yeah, that would not be democratic, or, you know, it would really raise the question about like free speech issues, I would think, too. So I don't know that they would really want to get into that, but who knows?
Here's a great question from Hunter Manzan. Is there any chance in the States for a new ISP to start up with all the giants already ruling the game?
Maybe. Look, it's
Bring out your economist hat here, Ben.
it's really expensive to do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's possible. We learned about Starry a couple of years ago, which is just piloting some stuff in Boston, and I think they're moving very, very slowly. I don't even know if they're still working, frankly, but there's a reason why the landscape looks the way it is. It's super expensive to do this type of work.
I think if there's anybody in this world who can make that happen, in Musk we trust.
Yeah. That'll be like the most boring
Alfred's face.
That'll be the most boring thing he ever did. I mean, like, he's doing like electric cars, flamethrowers, candy factory, and an ISP.
A cyborg dragon.
He's a cyborg dragon.
Dragon energy, all right?
Oh, God. I think he could pull it off with the sheer amount of capital. Him and Bezos, obviously, but
If he could
would
make
they?
it sexy and interesting, then sure. Why not?
Come on, Musk. Keep the porn alive. All right, we are out of time. Thanks, everybody. Fantastic chatter, as always. We'll be back tomorrow. Who wants to take us out today?
You want to do it? I'll do it.
Tell them all about subscribing to that
can
audio
do it.
podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, don't forget to rate us on iTunes.
Or
I'm trying
do
to-
forget. It doesn't matter to me.
Smash that
fine.
like button.
Smash that like button, please.
If you didn't like the 359 podcast, we're not available on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, FeedBurner, Google Play Music, the Amazon Echo, and definitely not CNET.com.
Okay. Thanks for joining, I think.
Or not. Thanks for, I don't know.
Okay.
Changing the game!
See you guys tomorrow.